Okay, allegedly we're recording. That we slipped under the door of the shop when I got here. Not sure what's going on, but Mike is nowhere to be seen. So moving on, we're going to use Lisa as Mike's stand-in. So Lisa, you had a good idea.
Let's read the good idea.
So let's fill us in on your good idea.
Well, we were having one of our regular weekly meetings, and we were talking about what should we chat about for this Rac Chat, and I'd said, why don't we talk about the elements of story, which we can totally do in about 20 minutes. And so I rattled off this super mega list of ideas of where to get started. And I've, terrified Ian and Mike with the idea of homework and all that, but I thought it would be fun to...
I'm the publisher. I don't get homework.
I thought it would be fun just to kick things off and maybe even talk about stuff we've dealt with our own writing, because I think people learn the best from... People respond particularly well when you talk about like your failures and your struggles and what you learned, and even your successes. Of
a couple hours of struggles and failures. Yeah,
I've got plenty of those, so we've got plenty of material. But I thought one of the things I mentioned, so I talk storycraft a lot with Mike, and I love how we kind of we'll hash things out. And one of his favorite books that he'll bring up a lot, and if you've been to a convention with him, you will probably have been told to pick up a copy of Donald Miller's A Million Miles in a Thousand Years, or something like that.
Nope, that's new.
And I gave a copy to Rita, so
he's never mentioned that to me. So
that was brought up my first meeting with him, and I read it, and it's all about how to apply the elements of story to your life. And so it's kind of about how to live a more eventful life from the perspective of a storyteller.
Oh.
And he defines a story, and I thought this would be fun for us to kind of chew on. He defines a story as a character who wants something and overcomes conflict to get it. So there's a lot to unpack with just that definition alone. So what does that make you think?
Again, what they tell you when you're writing short stories, there has to be drama or conflict in there somewhere. Just to get a short story. By the way, if your protagonist isn't verbing something in the first several paragraphs, you're doing it wrong. In a short story,
verbs are very underutilized.
Yes.
We don't give them enough credit, honestly.
Better verbs. If it's a short story, better verb something in the first few paragraphs. Yes, there needs to be conflict, but conflict is varied.
Oh, yeah.
Punching somebody in the face, my favorite verb, is not the only or even the most utilized conflict. You can find conflict anywhere. Matter of fact, as an author, you should be finding, if you're writing, you should be finding conflict somewhere. And different authors and different styles of authors go for different conflicts. Punched in the face. That's a me. Somebody's getting shanked or punched or blown up. But having an argument over supper is a conflict.
Yeah, and so I think it's a fun definition. I think it's definitely fun if you're just getting started and you kind of want to get your feet wet with, like, how do I craft a good, story with actual anatomy to it. You don't want to just have that, and then. You don't want to do that Chinese drive-through thing. So I actually would like to challenge that definition. Because the first thing I think of when I see that contradicts that definition is The Hobbit. Bilbo's desires change over the course of The Hobbit.
But there's still conflict.
Well, I'm not challenging the conflict part of that definition. I'm not challenging I'm not conflicting the conflict part.
Okay.
But at the beginning, he just wants to be sure he's going to get another breakfast.
Well, remember,
so he's forced into the story, and his wants and desires change in time.
The traditional is your character to have a good story. Your character must change. Traditionally your character has to change through the story. Now that I find that for long form, short form, I don't. My characters very rarely change in short form, because it's a short story. Short form is a snapshot,
Mhm.
where the novel is the tale, the tale of their life or section of their life, where the short story is a snapshot of a particular couple of days. But yeah, no, Bilbo definitely changes. He goes from a hobbit that just where's the next breakfast coming from to the burglar.
Yeah, he goes to negotiating wars at the end. He's not just
Yeah.
yeah. But why would you say you don't have that in your short stories?
My short stories never don't things don't change in for a character in the space of a couple hours or a couple of days. I have had stories where the character changed. The one I did, um, Memories Like Dust.
Mm-hmm.
My character changes a little bit, but not majorly. It's a short story. There's not a major change.
Mm-hmm.
In the rest of my shorts, no, the characters pretty much remain static. It's a snapshot of a for a character to change, unless it's and this happens in real life. For somebody to change, there has to be made for me. There has to be some major
Mm-hmm.
drama / trauma, and the character changes. The change in a character comes as the scar tissue from the trauma. That's what drives the character's change. Bilbo doesn't change because he faced down a dragon. He changed because he his reaction to afterwards is what changed him. You don't in real life facing down trauma doesn't change you. It's the reaction after that changes you. Yeah, it's
Dang.
you're in an officer involved shooting or justified shooter or whatever. That doesn't change you. It doesn't make you a better or worse person. It's the reaction afterwards that changes you. It's how you react to that. What Caliber Press refers to as the drop. So Bilbo's his reactions to situations don't change him. His reactions to the situations change him.
I didn't look at it quite that way. It's interesting.
It's negotiating with a dragon doesn't change you. It's when you sit down and hyperventilate and go, oh my God, I just negotiated with a dragon. I am all that in a bag of chips is what changes you.
I view the whole experience as transformative because it is calling forth something that you maybe didn't think you necessarily had inside of you. And maybe that's, to me, that's a major part of the story is, discovering those things. Because I like to see in the characters, like at the beginning, when you look at them, what's their meatloaf thing? But I would do anything but that. What's that one thing they're not going to do? And then kind of that story is them being forced to confront their never thing. So
Jim Butcher states quite clearly what Harry Dressel will never do, and then rakes him through the coals so he does it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But again, in my stories, it's not what they do that changes them or what happens to them. It's their reactions to what they do or what happens that changes them. Which is, to me, more true to life.
Yeah.
Because when the drop happens and all of a sudden you're in a gunfight, there is reacting to the immediate stimulus is an ingrained flow chart that does not change you. You just follow the flow chart you've already set up.
Do you interpret that with your law enforcement background as this is instinct, this is training kicking in?
That at every part of my background, law enforcement, military, growing up.
Yeah. It's not a conscious I'm going to do this decision now.
Sometimes it is. It's a conscious decision to go do it, and then when the rubber hits the road, you snap to instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you get done and you're back out of instinct, It's your reaction to, oh my God, what have I done, that changes you, that makes you grow or not grow, as the case may be.
Yeah, because you kind of made that decision a long time ago, and that's why you did the training, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the training doesn't, I mean, people will tell you that training makes you confident. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's taking the training and applying it successfully that makes you confident. I can train, and I have trained days, months on CQB, on clearing a house, and that didn't make me confident until I did it successfully. And hey, it does work. That's what made me confident, not the training. It's the application of the successful application of training builds confidence.
You can train till the cows come home, but you don't know how you're actually going to react in the actual situation.
Correct.
And that's a whole different bag of chips.
And for me, I write that into my stories. In Memories Like Dust, it starts out with a law enforcement officer who's hanging on to his sanity by the skin of his teeth, and then he does something which trips him almost over the edge. He is where he was hanging on. He is now desperately falling, and he speaks to a Catholic priest at a party, and that doesn't make him feel better. It's his reaction to what the priest said that makes him feel better. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So he's going along. He's got PTSD. He comes upon a drunken driver caused car accident with two innocents. One is dead, and he saves the other. But the saving triggers his PTSD, and he is adrift and losing it. And when he gets to the party, he panics, has a panic attack, leaves the party, and he's hiding when this neutral party comes up and talks to him. The talking doesn't calm him down. It's after it's done and he accepts what the priest has said, that's what calms him down. Get what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So it wasn't the talking and the speech, it was the accepting what was told to him, the speech, that makes him grow, for lack of a better word. I think I blew her mind.
It's just a different way of approaching it that I never really considered, because one of the other things I have on our list of homework is I've got that short video. I love what Alan Watt is saying about it's not necessarily plot driven. It's how are your characters relating differently at the end of the story than how are they relating at the beginning of the story to other characters? Do you still show that with people?
People want to define plot too narrowly. Plot is this, only this. Plot is your story. Plot is the framework. It's not only the framework that you're hanging the story on, but the story itself. Don't restrict your definitions on certain things. This is not plot if you're doing this. Is it a story? Then it's plot. Is it part of the story? It's plot. Moving on. Make sense?
Right, but there would have to be some sort of change to me. Because you're not supposed to.
I'm saying short fiction. Short fiction, there does not need to be change. There needs to be conflict, but your protagonist does not need to change. Okay, Blood in the Sand. You've got this. You've got basically a very cynical retired Foreign Service guy. He's adrift. He has nothing to do. Then he goes through this. He and Chinese operatives get mixed up, and at the end of it, he is less adrift, but still adrift. He has not really changed. He's still cynical, still retired Foreign Service, still somewhat adrift. Has not changed.
I would count that less adrift as the change, no matter how minute. I would still count that as the
Maybe. The only change is he's found a new girlfriend. That's his change.
okay. Why did that happen? Why did he? So did he have one and he switches in the course of the story? What's the change?
He had at the beginning of the story. He has friends with benefits.
Okay, so
And
that's that beginning
Right.
status quo that's not good enough.
It's friends with benefit because again he's adrift.
Right.
He's cynical and adrift.
Right.
So at the end, what he's done during his conflict with the Chinese has attracted the attention of someone else, a different different female character, and she is expressing interest, and that's it.
Yeah, I would count that as change because
Okay.
you know he's making choices that someone else is admiring.
He never states he makes a change.
Mhm.
He never states he makes a change.
But does she notice it?
She teases him as she leaves the room, and that's where it ends.
I would count that as noticing something. So yeah, no, thank you, because I need to hear other people's perspectives on this because it's helping me understand just there's so much to bite off with this. So.
Writing is storytelling. Storytelling is the oldest, I don't care what anybody tells you, the oldest activity and profession that humans have. They'll tell you the oldest profession is prostitution. It's not. They'll tell you the second oldest profession is priesthood. It's not. The oldest profession is storytelling. Is you would pay somebody started telling a story around a fire and got a leg of lamb or that cute little Neanderthal in the rabbit fur bikini or whatever. That's what started that.
Yeah. And I guess I'm being a bit of a hypocrite because as I'm thinking about so the Bourbon and Lead story I submitted, which did not get in, people who so I'm telling this story because every time I would tell my students about my epic failures, they would respond the most strongly. Okay. People love to learn from other people's failures. So I'm just anyway, I'm bringing that up because it's a great example because nobody can read it now. But I made it a father-son story. They're forced into this. They don't necessarily trust each other at the beginning of the series or beginning of the story. And I have very early on, I tell it from the son's perspective. They have this kind of disagreement. They're forced into this sleuthing situation, just so they can outsmart the killers because now they're the prey. But fairly early on, I have the son. They walk off. They have this big spat, and he's just saying, "I just want to be taken seriously as an adult," because he's 18. But later on, they meet back up, and they kind of have this sort of, they're sort of reconciling a little bit, and we find out as the readers. What the son really wants to know is not whether or not the father takes him seriously. He wants to know whether or not his dad loves him.
Okay.
He's not aware of that the entire time. I just
see, that's a story I couldn't write. You can write it, but I can't. That's just not the way. That's not the way my writing brain is wired. The deep introspective.
Yeah, because the dad, I have the dad. The son is a product of a shotgun wedding.
Okay.
And so the dad's been told by his writing partner that he's just not, good enough. And so he kind of believes that he's not good enough. He's got this low self-esteem. The son views that low self-esteem. He views himself as the cause of it. Maybe does my dad blame me for the reason? And so what he needs is his dad to feel better about himself. But the fun that I had with that is that the character's never really aware of what it is they ultimately want. They're a little bit oblivious to that, but the reader's privy.
I'll give you another. I wrote a story for Three Ravens called "A Little Weird," even for a trailer park, and it starts out with an older gentleman who happens to be a wizard in a trailer park.
As they are.
It happens.
Yeah, pretty.
And then the trailer park's attacked by aliens. He defeats the aliens, and at the end of it, he's an old wizard of a trailer park. Nothing changes. One of my more successful stories.
So he starts so it's kind of like the sitcom format. You know, we have this
Yeah.
adventure, but we're always right back where we started.
It is
basically.
as tongue in cheek as anything I've ever written. When it's wizards in a trailer park with aliens, a hentai monster in the swimming pool. Yeah, it's at werewolves, vampires, and a were-yorkie. It is.
They're all.
Now, it's a trailer park for monsters. Monsters live in a trailer park.
Okay. Yeah.
So at the beginning of it, the wizard has changed the teenage son of the werewolf couple into a Yorkie because he's been leaving messes in the wizard's yard.
At least they're smaller messes now.
Yeah, that's Yorkies, and hamster messes would be even smaller. But he doesn't change. He's a cranky old wizard at the beginning and goes through all this. He's a cranky old wizard at the end. There is one change. It's a subordinate minor character that has maybe 3 lines. But he's the only one that does any changing.
What was the change and what did he need it for?
The minor character that changes is a previous victim of probing by the aliens. And he's been running. And then when the trailer park rallies and destroys the aliens, he has found home. That's the only change. Well, teenage werewolf gets turned into a Yorkie. That's actually the only
he
change.
He stays a Yorkie.
Oh no. The werewolves, there's some threatening, and he promises to change him back.
Fine. Yeah.
That's the only changes. So, and it's one of my more successful stories.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think in short fiction. Now, if you're going to write a novel, your character has to change.
It's got to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, your character's got to change. But in short fiction, I don't think that's necessarily the case. And again, I've written a couple that the main character never changes. Because there are as many different variations on stories on short fiction as there are people.
Mm-hmm.
And
there are lots of short people.
And some people just want to read a snapshot of, in the trailer park story, of 3 hours in somebody's evening. Very, very hard to change over a course of 3 hours.
I'm thinking about that quote at the end of the original Willy Wonka movie when he's going, Mr. Wonka, are those kids going to be okay? And he goes, my dear boy, I assure you, they're going to go quite back to being their normal, horrible little selves.
Which is what my lawyers told me to say.
But the line's not over. He says they'll go back to being their normal, horrible little selves. But maybe they're a little wiser for the wear.
They're kids.
It's a pretty traumatic day, though.
I'll give you that.
If you don't walk away having learned a thing or two from that, it's pretty hard.
But it's not a short story either. It's a full novel.
True.
Remember, I think in novels and novellas there has to be some sort, not necessarily growth, but there has to be some sort of change in your protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
In short stories, not so much.
Would you count a realization as
if it changes something, yes.
Okay.
Just realizing something doesn't necessarily change you, but it often can. If you realize that you're not bulletproof, that's change. That the moment I realized that my 20-year-old self wasn't 10 feet tall and invincible was a hell of a reckoning that day. But
yeah. And well, I mean, it's just helpful to just even hear these conversations, which is why I'm enjoying this. As y'all know, I'm weird in many, many ways. And one of the ways
fit in well.
And one of the ways I'm weird is I like to watch movies with commentary, because you can learn a lot about like what the, whether it's the writer or the director, even some of the actors, what they were thinking about and why they presented the story the way they did.
Okay.
And so I'm getting to, again, more change is if you watch John Hughes commentary of the Ferris Bueller movie.
Okay.
So Ferris is a fairly self-serving character.
Self-centered.
But he does still care about his friends. He wants to benefit himself, but if his friends get benefited as well, then that's all the better. And sort of towards the movie, I think like towards the end, like at the pool scene where he's like pulling him out of the pool or something, John Hughes mentions that even though his main objective was to have a really fun day, he also sensed something in Cameron that needed to be fixed. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, something I think is a fun dynamic to play with Storycraft, whether it's short or long, is you've got this overarching plot that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this interior thing going on with the characters. So how do you like to play with that kind of parallel of what's going on inside of them that's an individual reaction to maybe this kind of universal situation?
Have you read that meme where the critics say something along the lines of the curtains were blue to symbolize the character's depression, and the author says the curtains are blue because they're fucking blue?
Yep.
I have more than once gone back and after somebody's told me about the deep metaphysical stuff in my work, I've gone back and damn, I wrote that. Holy crap. I didn't write it on purpose. I don't, some people find some deep metaphysical. I don't. I write for fun. Yeah. I write fun. And when you talk about watching movies with the commentary on, I never watch with commentary the first time. I will do it later, but the first time I watch it because I want to see what I think is there, which is the only real thing going on, because half the time when I listen to commentary, the director's wrong. Remembering that as the reader or as the viewer, the author or the director is painting a picture. If you're an author, you're painting a picture in your reader's mind. Their brain is the canvas, and you're using words for ink and plot structure and sentences as your brushes.
You can't tell people how to interpret that.
No, you can't. Just write.
Mm-hmm.
When they pick the beautiful metaphysical stuff out of it.
Well, and I mean that goes to show like how effective is your writing. If you're trying to kind of put something into someone's mind, and you go and you give it to your friend or whatever, and you say, "Oh, did you pick up on this and this?" and they go, "No," then you failed. You failed. Well, I mean, I had a great conversation with Sam about this, and Sherry and I both noticed the same thing about his writing. He writes great demons. And he's like, I don't know how to interpret that, but thank you. And so if you do hit the right notes, multiple people should be able to pick up on like that thing in your writing. So, I mean, you might be going for it, or it might just kind of naturally come to the fore. It might be your just natural.
There are a lot of authors that do what you described, Sam. They're known for doing great things. And when you actually sit down over a cocktail and ask them about it, I just write. I didn't do that on purpose. So, and I don't want to mislead baby authors in that they need to be good at a certain, they need to be good at writing demons, or they need to be good at writing getting shanked in the face. Or just write. Develop your craft as you go along.
Your interests aren't necessarily going to also be your strengths.
No.
You might be really good at something that you don't have, that you're not totally aware of at the moment, and you might have to, pick up on. If everybody's telling you, "Hey, you do a really great job with these kinds of scenes," you either think about, do I want to invest, honing that craft?
To steal a metaphor, learn the science of baking. And then as you go along, you'll find you're good at muffins or cornbread or what the hell ever. But
you might have set out to learn pancakes.
Yeah, learn how to do it all first, and then see what blooms.
Yeah, you have to. Again, that rec press mentality of see what sticks to the wall. What's the spaghetti
Yep.
going to do.
I believe it or not, I never actually set out to write great good fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I set out to write humor. The first 2 books, humor. Turns out I write really good fight scenes. I didn't set out to do that. See what happens. And we've gone 30 minutes. We're going to do a part 2. And hopefully,
and then, many
hopefully
more.
Bubbles will release Mike unharmed, so that Mike can chime in. But that was part 1, I think.
We've just started to go down the rabbit hole because the other night we were talking about sentence structure. So I want to do a lot of these.
I do too. So stay tuned. Now the fun part comes.